Akif Beki'nin, thanks for joining us here on the Listening Post today.
Thank you for having me.
You go a long way back with Tayyip Erdogan. As a leader, compared to other government leaders, he strikes me as being more direct in his involvement with the media. What is it in his background, do you think, that makes him this way?
I don't think that it has anything to do with his background at all, actually. Maybe my answer is going to disappoint you, but as I said, it is not unique to him. It is, to a certain extent, just the Turkish way. I mean, it has to do with media power, media-politician relations in Turkey.
On the new internet law, which you support, you recently wrote, internet liberalism has reached a new level. All countries have got to deal with this issue. All leaders occasionally have things written about them or nasty things said about them on Twitter, on Facebook, or what have you. What is it about Turkey that it feels it needs to go further than other countries in shutting that down by taking the courts out of the equation and leaving it up to the bureaucrats to take down that content?
Let me put it this way. Individuals have the right to get their personal privacy and their personality, personal integrity protected by legal system, by the rule of law. We had problems in this regard. So there was a need for such a regulation, for a new regulation on the internet. It takes 6 to 8 days to get a decision out from the court. So it is too late. I mean, once abusive content is circulated in the internet, once everyone viewed it, then it is too late to protect personal privacy. It is too late.
That's not the view of the EU. The Speaker of the EU Parliament says that this is a time where Turkey needs more transparency, more freedom of expression, yet the country's going in the other direction.
You know, the key word is transparency here. And I don't get the point. We are talking of an abusive content and protection of the need to protect personal privacy.
Okay, well, here's the point. Can we talk about the Mahir Zeynalov case? People on the outside were looking into Turkey, seeing a new internet law, seeing a journalist deported. Someone we interviewed said even the shepherd in the mountain knows that it wasn't a visa issue that led the government to deport Zeynalov. It was about his tweets. So why even pretend? Because Turks aren't stupid. Turks know what's happening. So why even make this about a visa if your problem is what he's tweeting or what he's covering?
So you are sure that he is not deported for visa?
No, I'm saying that that's the reason being given. When's the last time you heard of a journalist being deported from Turkey when his visa expired? You know, when the government says it's for that technical reason as opposed to what is obvious to everybody, then Ankara begins to sound like Beijing or Moscow. Is that really who you want to be keeping company with while you're applying to the EU for membership?
In this case, is his visa expired or not? Was he deported on the very same day, on the exact day and date that his visa expired, or a month later?
I don't know. Because I don't think it's the reason that I don't know is because, like most Turks, I don't think it has anything to do with his visa. I think it has everything to do with what he's tweeting. This is the only journalist that I know of who the Prime Minister has brought a personal criminal complaint against, that I know of. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then
I am not aware of it. I'm hearing it first time.
Well, he brought a personal criminal complaint against him, and then that is the journalist who is deported because his visa has expired. And this is a coincidence.
If Prime Minister feels that his personal integrity or personality has been attacked, then he has the right to take it to the court, take the issue to the court. But I am not aware of it at all, whether this is the case with Mr. Zeynalov or not. What I do know is his visa has been expired, and this is the fact on the ground. No one denies it, even Mr. Zeynalov, and I don't think that anyone suggests that government could overlook expiration of visa. It is their problem. Let them speak about it. I'm not in their place to defend or confess anything.
Sure, I understand, but you know how media works in Turkey.
Yeah,
but you know how media works in Turkey because you worked in the office of the Prime Minister on the communication side, so you know how it works. On the mainstream media, we saw last summer during the Taksim protests that they were just down the road in Istanbul, but CNN Turk has got a documentary about penguins in Antarctica on the air, which really seemed to take the Turkish media problem to the absurd, because the Latin expression is reductio ad absurdum, reduce the Turkish media problem to a position of absurdity. If you're sitting at home,
question is
the question is this:
full of stereotypes. Cliches, stereotypes, unbelievable.
I didn't put the penguins on the air.
Okay, what is wrong with putting penguins on the air?
When you have tear gas on the streets of Istanbul and demonstrators on the streets of Istanbul?
You don't. When there is tear gas on the street of London, then do you air tear gas 24 hours around the clock?
When the London riots occurred a couple of summers ago, wall-to-wall coverage from the beginning that just got bigger. There were no penguins, there were no nature documentaries, but what I say doesn't matter. What matters is the Turks, thousands of them, descending in front of news channels like NTV, demonstrating in front of NTV and Haberturk TV, saying, you've got to cover this country. And what happened was that the head of news at NTV, Cem Aydin, came out on day 3, and he said, you're right, we haven't done the job, we have to do better. Now, he's no longer in his position. Do you think he's out because NTV failed to do its job initially, or because he admitted it publicly and the owners didn't like it?
Why don't you put this pretty good question to him in person?
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you agree with those people in Turkey who say that the problem with Turkish media is structural? That these mega conglomerates that have big contracts with governments, that there is a conflict of interest, and that they will never be as critical of the people they're doing business with and who are writing them the checks as normal news organizations would be in any democracy?
It is not unique to this media group, it is not unique to this government, it is not unique to this country, it is the same everywhere.
No, it's not the same everywhere.
It
occurs everywhere, but doesn't happen to the same degree everywhere.
Okay, let's say we can discuss only the degree of difference between here and anywhere else. Correct? Yes. Okay. Now, so let's put it correctly. Owners might have their own causes to support any government, or to try to get along with governments in good terms, or to take positions against
just cover the news.
Governments.
Just cover the news. Not take a position against, just cover the news.
Or
play it straight.
Or just cover the news, as you put it.
Play it straight.
Yeah.
Down the middle.
It is not that straight. It is not that clear cut anywhere in the world.
No, but we do our best.
It is not that clear cut. I mean, come on. You are talking about transparency, and your thoughts and words also should be transparent.
That you wrote in a column that when it comes to ideology and broadcasting, media, that I prefer an honest taking of sides to a double crossing by pretending to be neutral.
Definitely, yes.
Is that really the way forward for the media in Turkey or in any country?
I would prefer it this way. Don't cheat your reader or audience.
Don't pretend to be something you're not.
Don't pretend to be someone else.
So the same thing that other countries allow in print, you think should be allowed on television?
Yeah, I have written this before many times. Let the audience know about your orientation.
Here's my final question. You said that when in opposition, the AKP had to deal with media that was pro-government, and the government back then was calling editors the same way that Erdogan is calling editors now, or his people are calling editors now. Does the AKP not run the risk that one day it will again find itself in opposition, and that it will have wished at that point that it did fix this? I call it a structural problem, call it an ideological problem, call it a content problem. And they're going to be on the outside looking in, trying to phone those news organizations, and nobody's taking Erdogan's call.
This is the point to be focused on. I said, it is not something new. It is not unique to Mr. Erdogan or this government. It is business as usual in Turkish media power, media government relations. But I did not mean that I do support it this way. I don't think that this is the right way to handle media relations for any government. This is wrong and got to be changed.
How do you do it?
It needs a change in mindsets. It is not just about laws, regulations. It is not about legal procedures. It is about mindsets. But it is not only the government to be blamed for it. It's not the owners either. Journalists, editorial staff.
Yeah, but they take their orders from their
is
owners.
Also to be kept responsible for the outcome in the end of the day. We have to have a self-criticism as well. We have to develop a kind of self-criticism because, we are also responsible for the outcome, for the final outcome. It is not good. It's not good for any party. It's not serving to benefits of any party, not to the benefits of, to the interests of owners, not to the interests of journalists, not to the interests of even governments.
Akif Beki, thanks for speaking to us at the Listening Post today.
Thank you for having me.
You've been watching a special edition of the Listening Post on the media in Turkey. Next week, another special. We'll bring you 3 stories on how new technologies are changing what you see in the news. We'll see you then here at the Listening Post.